If you want to know how a plant grows, it takes water, air, and sunlight and makes cellulose. Every plant can do this fundamental process, and we call it photosynthesis. Unlike me and you, plants need CO2 and they make oxygen that stops us from turning blue. Every plant can do this fundamental process, and we call it photosynthesis. I actually remember the photosynthesis song from my biology class all those years ago. So, photosynthesis by Miss Hoskins. So, why would root cells in a plant not need chloroplast? Because these guys down here, they don't have chloroplast. They're only the ones that are in contact. Chloroplast catches sunlight, and since the roots are underground, they're not exposed to the sun. So actually, roots cannot photosynthesize. Stomata, those are the pores that are underneath the side of the leaf. Plants will lose water there, but that's also where carbon dioxide enters, and that's where oxygen also leaves. And if it's too hot or if it's dry out, the plant will close those stroma so that it doesn't lose too much water and it'll become dehydrated. And this can eliminate the gas exchange process and slow down photosynthesis. When carbon dioxide levels drop and the levels of oxygen increase, the result is actually photorespiration. Photorespiration adds oxygen to the Calvin cycle instead of that carbon dioxide. So this makes no sugar or no ATP at all. And in order for the plant to stay alive, it wastes a lot of its resources. And so there's two types of alternate pathways that plants like to avoid, and that is CAM and C4. CAM is a really popular photosynthetic pathway that is done by cactus. So it's also done by pineapples. And so they open their stomata at night and they close it during the day. This is opposite of normal plants because they don't want to lose any of the water. These plants are adapted to live in desert areas, high tropical regions where there's a lot of heat, and it does cause them to grow more slowly than a normal plant would. But it's an alternate pathway to photosynthesizing and creating your own energy. C4 is done by corn and sugarcane. And these guys partially close their stomata during the hardest part of the day. And that only allows them half as much water as normal plants. And so they're not considered water loving plants, and you can grow them in hotter regions. And they don't need as much of it because of how they do this partially closed stroma underneath their leaves. And this allows them to be, good for used for crops, and that's probably why we use a lot of corn in all of the things that we do. I mean, if you walk into the grocery store and you run around the center part of it, everything in the center part is a lot of it's made of corn. We make sugars and chips and a lot of our snacks that all comes from corn. We can make a lot of corn. We feed all of our animals that we eat to corn. And of course, a lot of things are made out of sugar. So sugar comes in lots of different forms. C4 plants are the love of science and food production for sure.